therapist, and I spend my days, I spend almost every moment of my waking moments helping women understand how to take their life back from a narcissist, how to take their life back from the codependent narcissist relationship that has been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation until here you are in this crazy world, being an empath who's highly sensitive and is noticing and feeling and reacting to the craziness of the world around her. Narcissism is getting more so because of stress. People aren't able to manage their emotions as well. They're getting more stressed out, they're getting more distracted, they've got more technology. So you as an empath are probably in one of the most challenging times of the whole world, where you are feeling and noticing and recognizing all of the energies around you. And if you're not careful, it's going to start to make you sick if it hasn't already. So as an empath, you are someone who can feel and read and know the energies of the people around you. And probably also as an empath, you've ended up in relationships where people haven't respected that. They haven't respected your level of sensitivity. They haven't respected your level of insight or intuition. And so because of that, it's almost like you've been in a hurricane with all of these storms and rain and wind battering you. And after a while, the empaths, which are us, end up getting fatigued, end up getting worn down, can no longer do the part that they're meant to play. And that's because empaths weren't taught a long time ago the value of learning how to fight. So as an empath, we tend to want to avoid fighting. We want to avoid arguments. We want to avoid tension. We want to avoid conflict because of how it makes us feel. Conflict outside of us in other people tends to make us feel extremely agitated. It'll make our stomach clench and our shoulders clench and our jaw clench. It'll give us digestive problems. It'll make our thyroid not work so well. It'll make our immune system not work so well. And because of that, our effectiveness of caring and compassion and love and support gets less and less and less, because no one taught you how to be an empath in a world that's crazy. Because when everyone else is going crazy around you and being dysregulated and overwhelmed and frustrated, you're actually the one that's feeling it the most because of your high level of sensitivity and your high level of empathy. So what do you do about it? Well, it's time to go to the next level. It's time to go to the next level of being a healer, of being an energy worker, of being a light worker, of being a coach, of being someone of service. And it's time to find that balance. Because most of your life, you've probably leaned on the side of that beautiful feminine energy, that energy of caring and supporting. Maybe it showed up in you paid everybody's bills. Maybe you slipped people money. Maybe you cut them a break. Maybe you hired people that nobody else would hire. Maybe you worked with people that were just getting into the industry. And maybe you married somebody and had kids with them who needed a lot more than you really were willing to give or that you expected to give. So what is that next step? It's time to balance yourself out with your masculine energy. And when I say masculine energy, I mean the same energy that got you ahead in the world, the same energy that maybe got you through college or got you through high school or your GED or had you start your own business. That same energy, that action, that movement energy is the masculine, is the thing that you already have. And it's time to start applying it to your personal life. So one of the things that gets in the way is when someone you love gets angry. As an empath, you tend to do one of 5 things. You tend to hide, you tend to disassociate, you tend to people please, you tend to put the blinders on and ignore it, you tend to get angry and then have to control all of that anger, you tend to get very rigid in your thinking. That's how we as empaths start to respond to the tension around us. And that doesn't serve anybody. You know exactly what it looks like to be in a fight with a narcissist that gets nowhere. To be where you're belittled, where you're told you're stupid, where you're told what you want doesn't matter, where you're told that you don't have any value. These are the things that maybe you've been dealing with. Maybe you've been living with for a long time. A lot of what gets in the way for empaths is their nervous system. They're born and it's shaped into a highly sensitive nervous system. And so when someone comes forward like that, we tend to contract. We tend to pull back. We tend to protect. And that's the last thing the world needs. The world does not need the empath to go under a rock and hide. The world needs the empath to figure out how to stay level, how to stay present, so that they can help everyone else set healthy boundaries and have healthy relationship skills. Most people are very numb and insensitive to the world around them. They're in their own little world. They're focused on, how do I survive? How can I take advantage of somebody else? But that's not you, which is why the world needs you to get your act together, to get into alignment, to start learning how to stay level and calm when other people around you are crazy, because they're not going to get calmer. They're not going to magically change. They don't have the same resources and tools that you do. So as an empath, your job is to take care of yourself, is to nurture yourself, is to nourish yourself. And you start to learn how to fight in a way that isn't destructive, how to fight in a way that doesn't create more tension, and fight in a way that actually creates healing. When you're able to stand in your own power, when you're able to stand in your own wisdom, in your own intuition, in your own knowing, and use all of those gifts while someone else is feeling off balance, while someone else is wanting to fight, while someone else is picking a fight, it means that their door is actually open. And in a fight is one of those great opportunities where you can say things and do things and make points that really land. Because when someone is off balance, when someone is dysregulated, like a narcissist picking a fight, they're actually in a very vulnerable place, which is why they're fighting with you, because they feel vulnerable. And the reaction, the response is to fight back. That's the normal, natural response. But as an empath, you're not there to coddle them or make them feel better. You're not there to pet them and tell them everything's going to be okay. You're there to help them realize that the world is much bigger than they see, and that they're safe, and that who they are is okay. And the only way to get that idea across sometimes is in an argument, is in a fight. Now here's the difference. When a narcissist is fighting with you, they are typically not firing on all cylinders. If they were, they'd make better choices. They wouldn't run out of their life, probably the only person who will deal with or work with or tolerate their own crazy. I can't tell you how many women I work with who've been married for 30 or 40 years with a narcissist, the constant minimizing and arguments and tiptoeing and eggshells. That's actually pretty typical. And so if a narcissist were really in their right mind, they wouldn't be doing things to drive people away, especially the people that care the most about them, especially the empaths, who are the only ones who have the ability and the insight and the intuition to even possibly understand why they're so aggressive. And so when you're dealing with someone who is in that conflicted, angry state, it's not about pacifying them, and it's not about controlling them. It's about learning to say the things you need to say, the stuff that you hide, the stuff that you're scared to say, the stuff that you think it's going to create big repercussions, and sometimes it does. Sometimes when you say something, the whole lid blows up and blows off. But you know what? At the end of the day, the person who is most grounded and most centered, which is you, the empath, who has amazing abilities and connections and support and friends in order to do that, you're the one who gets to stand in your power, and you're the one that stands in a peaceful place while a narcissist is being dysregulated. You're the one who people will look to as a leader, like they do in your career path, because you're the one who has the vision. You have to recognize and understand how to control your own nervous system so you can defend yourself. And by defending yourself, you actually change the fabric of the relationship. Because in a narcissist codependent or narcissist empath relationship, there's a scary victimizer monster sort of person, and then there's the frightened victim, sensitive, highly sensitive empath most times. And when we keep that dynamic, you see what happens. Everything blows up. Everything falls apart. And that can be good, but not the way you want to live. You don't want to live in chaos. But when you step into it, when you walk forward and say, this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is what I know, this is what I'm going to do, this is how it's going to turn out, you actually end up being the leader. You be the one that directs the energy of the relationship. So if you want a better relationship, whether it's with your narcissist or with yourself or with your friend or with your boss, you'd be surprised. You're no longer the little girl that doesn't have any resources. You're no longer the hypersensitive nervous system, because you're an adult. You actually have the ability to create change in your life that you didn't have as a kid. And that's why we keep reacting when we come to an argument, because we go right back to when we were as a kid. And when you start to get the trauma off your system, when you start to detox all those past emotions, and it's not about therapy and going to therapy for years and years on end. It's about actually working with the body and getting the trauma off the system. Because even if you've done ayahuasca, even if you've done energy healing, even if you're a light worker, even if you've done meditation, even if you've become a Buddhist monk, if you don't deal with the physical issues that keep you cowering and hiding and being small in an argument, you'll never be able to be the leader that you're supposed to be. The world needs empaths to step into that power and that sensitivity that we have. They need us to be able to stay level and stable while everybody else is going crazy. And they need us to help people understand that destructiveness isn't good for anybody, that we need to be coming together. But if you're just saying we need to be coming together, nobody's going to listen. But when you say it, you need to stop. This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. And it's done in a way that isn't destructive. It's a way that's clear, that's present, and that's direct. And when you develop the confidence and the courage to do that, to stand in that power, miracles happen in relationships. They really do. It's almost like the narcissists in your life were waiting for you to step into that leadership role. They didn't know what they were doing. They were feeling crazy about their own selves. And you're saying, no, these are the boundaries. This is the way we're going to do it. This is the way we're going to live. And when you start stepping into that knowingness that you have, because you are a magical, magical empath, when you start stepping into that, people start respecting you. When you start respecting what you know and who you are, other people start respecting it too. When you start respecting and valuing how important your sensitivity is, how important your ability to feel out into the world and the world to feel you like an antenna, when you recognize how valuable that is, other people will recognize it too. And you'll start being treated with love. You'll start being treated with respect. You'll start seeing more opportunities because you are no longer feeling sorry for people or feeling sorry for yourself. You're recognizing that there are things I can do. I'm not helpless. And my job is to be the empath that I am in a healthy, balanced way. And when you do that, other people will follow you. I know you're scared. I know you're worried because an empath can be completely off the rails. They'll threaten DCFS. They'll emotionally hurt you by showing you pictures of people or texting you things or rage texting you, but you aren't helpless. When you start saying, I know I'm no longer willing to have this sort of experience, I'm no longer willing to be the person that gets beat up by everybody else's emotions, and I'm no longer willing to blame myself for other people's challenges, when you start to do that, your world will change. And you'll stop wasting all of this energy trying to keep these balls juggled that you're never going to be able to keep juggled. Instead, you're able to feed and nourish the person you're really supposed to feed and nourish, which is you. And then suddenly you're not a little sapling anymore. Suddenly, you're a giant redwood with a purpose that people listen to. And that's what I need you to look at. I need you to realize that the world needs you to be a strong empath, and they need you to learn how to fight back, and fight back in a way that raises all of us up, in a way that doesn't destroy other people, but opens the door for them to make different choices. And the only way they're going to do that is when you respect you. I know you can do this. I have every faith in the world. I'm sure you can do this. And if you feel stuck, just like or watch these videos, because Women tend to contact me about a year or two after they find me so far, because it takes a while to watch these things and get them imprinted in your mind and start thinking differently and realizing that you aren't alone. So it takes a while to start thinking differently, to have different thoughts planted in your head, to start to put tools into place. And if you are ready to make a change, if you are ready to get divorced, if you are ready to start a new relationship, if you are ready to save your kids before they become narcissists, before they become, before you end up having daughters-in-law or sons-in-law that ruin every Christmas and every Thanksgiving, before you end up repeating the same patterns of fighting and hurt and woundedness and addiction that's probably run in your family, instead of continuing that cycle, it's time to break it. And you can break it even just by watching these videos. And you can break it by getting a community, by getting support. And the more support you get, the more community you get, the more you decide to kind of focus in on this stuff, the faster it goes. Can you imagine what it would be like 6 months from now? I have women who contact me and who don't know if they want to get divorced, and within 3 months, they're already in mediation for the divorce. Because we can make changes that quickly. We can make changes that quickly in how you think, in how you live, and how you have the courage and confidence to finally fight for your right to live in a peaceful world that's loving and supportive. Okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Looking forward to mine. In 6 minutes, I'm going to be with Julie Murphy. We're going to be doing Awaken Your Relationships. It should be a ball. We always have a great time. She's Irish Catholic. I'm Irish Catholic. So we're both pretty feisty. And we both healed from narcissism. And we both want to share our geniuses with you. Julie's is wealth, and mine is nervous system balancing, is helping you move past your narcissistic codependent dance that you've been doing. So reach out, RitaHickmanCoaching.com, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!